I think the word is resilience. What does that mean to you?
Mm.
Like you being a female of your age and where you live and your upbringing, to me being a female of my age to where I live and my upbringing, because in your country resilience could look different.
Mhm.
In my country could your I was going to say your biblical beliefs. What do you call it? Your spirituality.
Philosophical, spiritual
Yeah,
mindset. Yes.
yeah.
What's your belief
And
system?
exactly. So that will be different to what resilience looks like.
Hmm.
Or I mean, how many siblings do you have, Moira?
Four.
Four. So somebody with four siblings compared to me and my sister, my
Yeah.
resilience completely different to your resilience.
Yep.
And if they're girls or boys or any of those things, how you were brought up, um, what does that resilience look like?
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Welcome.
Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And we're changing up how we kind of step into these conversations just because change is good. You know, we're coming into wrapping up 2024 and we decided it's time to do things in a wee bit of a different way.
Can we just
So
take a moment and go, where the heck did 2024 go?
I know, isn't that crazy? I've been thinking that too. It's like, what? What? We're stepping into the penultimate month here of
I know.
a pretty epically humongous year. But it's like, oh my God, can't believe that we're wrapping things up.
I know.
But
I
but
know.
we are.
I,
But we are.
anyway,
Here we are.
well,
Here we are.
which will definitely go in sync with what we're talking about today. But anyway,
Yes, yes, definitely. We're going to be talking about techniques for building resilience. I love that word, resilience.
resilience.
But before we get into the conversation, if you've listened to us before, you know that we used to always do what we called a PEMS check-in, where we were getting you to assess your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual well-being. Still actually encourage you to do that as part of your own self-care. But what we want to do now is what I'd like to think of as creating some heart coherence. And what I mean by that is that you may have come across the idea that we're all one, that we're all connected energetically, we're all together. And so the idea before we get into the techniques for building resilience is to just pause for a wee moment. And if you're not driving, if you can, I encourage you to close your eyes. Don't do this if you're driving,
Yeah.
but just feel your feet wherever they are. Just acknowledge your feet on the ground or the floor. Maybe move your toes a little bit to feel whatever's there. Just feel that. Feel grounded. Allow yourself to feel grounded. Feel whatever you're sitting or resting against. And if you haven't, I said heart coherence, I encourage you to place both hands over your heart. And we're going to take some deep breaths in and out. Allow yourself to really land in this present moment. Take another deep breath in and out. And with this, set the intention that your heart energy is expanding and we're all connecting at a heart level. Breathe in and breathe out. And then one more thing is just to acknowledge your connection to the universe, where whatever your sense of that is, feeling the support of the universe showering down upon you as we take one more deep breath and breathing it out. Good. And I encourage you to take that time and pause throughout your day and just do something like that to come back into that beautiful heart coherence. And now we're going to start stepping into these ideas, sharing these ideas, techniques for building resilience. So, dear listeners, if you haven't, we encourage you to grab your note-taking device, because so that can be a pen, pencil, electronic device, whatever your favored way of taking notes, because we like to pack these episodes with as many tips and ideas and strategies that we can, yes, that we can possibly put in here. So, as you like to do, Deb, you actually often like to break down the title and kind of break it apart and see what these words are. So
I was literally just thinking that. I'm like, I'm going to go, what does that mean? What to you?
Yes, I knew you were going to start there.
He knows me so well.
Yes. So what?
Well, I think the word is resilience. What does that mean to you? Like you being a female of your age and where you live and your upbringing, to me being a female of my age to where I live and my upbringing, because in your country resilience could look different. In my country could your I was going to say your biblical beliefs. What do you call that? Your spirituality,
philosophical, spiritual mindset.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your belief system?
Exactly. So that will be different to what resilience looks like. Or I mean, how many siblings do you have, Moira?
4.
4. So somebody with 4 siblings compared to me and my sister, my resilience completely different to your resilience.
Yeah.
And if they're girls or boys or any of those things, how you were brought up, what does that resilience look like? And I think resilience to me, I often think about, you must have that over there. You must have that. It's like you're in a
over here.
book. Yeah, over there, all the way over there is, when you have those blow up punching things, and they're actually not punch. They're like a little animation.
I know the ones you mean.
Just as well, this is not video.
It's like a punching bag that rebounds.
Yeah,
that's what you mean?
Yeah, that's what
she actually showed it with her body, so I actually got it.
Well, it's going, yeah, we're not video, we're podcast. But that's what it feels like. It feels like that, and I'm back. And the time it takes you to fall back, it's half the time to come back. If I was to sum that up. But that's resilience. It's coming back. But I think, but choosing that resilience option can be anything. You can actually go, you know what? I'm going to come back, but I'm not going to come back and play in that playground. I'm actually going to back, but I'm going to go to the house on the left. I'm not going to come back to that same thing. So I think that's what does resilience mean to you? Would that sum that up? Or
I love what you said, that it's that rebound. It made me think of it. There's an African proverb, I think it is, where it says, if you fall down 9 times, make sure you get up 10 times. Something like that, right? So for every time that you fall down, get back up. But the other thing that I was thinking when you were describing that, Deb, was you and I've shared this before about the saying in your head, I've got this. Yes. Resilience is the trust that even if I can't see the solution or the best way to deal with this or the best way to get back up, I know I can. I've got this, right?
Yeah, and that's a reminder you've been through so much before. And you survived. And I'm probably the only one referencing 2020. We went through, and just because that was a worldwide thing, try and relate that, but we went through so much. Each person had their own personal experience they had to deal with whilst protecting themselves from other family members' emotions, neighbors, workers, colleagues, government, or officials in any way. So we had to protect or wrap ourselves in our own resilience bubble and adapt to what we did, and then go, okay, well, we survived that. But
Yeah.
what does survival look like? Survival looks like getting up or staying in bed. Like survival could even just look like staying in bed for a couple of days and avoiding the world. Like if that's your
Yeah.
survival,
100%.
that all makes sense. I feel like
It
I've just
really
gone,
does. And you just said the word adaptable. That actually, I always pick a one-word theme for every
yeah,
year.
I'll
And
say your word.
I've already I think I might have shared that with you, but my 2024 word was adaptability.
Little did you know you were going
I know, dang, was I ever called upon with that one. Like, called that one real well, building
you got
resilience
that in
here.
your leading lights, didn't you? But that's that adaptability, resilience too.
Yeah,
That pivot.
yes,
It is that. Yeah.
yes. But it's the other thing too, is to me, the other part of resilience is reminding ourselves that we are co-creators of our life,
I'm sorry.
right?
I wonder if my partner's listening to this. It
But
is.
so in that co-creation, that's why I think sometimes it's a really important piece to remind ourselves that if I'm a co-creator, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to have all the answers or all the choices or all the directive pieces. There are going to be times where it's like, I just need to sit. Maybe I do need to put the covers over my head for a day or something and
But even
allow it to flow, right?
even the just it's that trust, isn't it? The co-creative, actually the trust and just going,
Yeah.
I don't need a solution, a strategy. This strategy right now, I don't need a 10-step strategy. The strategy right now is just to sit and feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's a different one as well to people. Instead of going, okay, I need a strategy to get myself out of this situation. Actually, the strategy, number one strategy is just sit and feel it.
Mhm.
And the answers will come without forcing it. I
Yeah.
think that's
And that's a really beautiful reminder because it's our feelings that can actually create or provide us the guidance that we're looking for. If we get too stuck in our head, we're not allowing ourselves to just take a breath and feel into our feelings, right?
yeah. I just did even just that take a breath. I'm just going to say I did a course at the weekend, a 2-day course, and it was an interesting course. And every 15 minutes we had to stop and shut our eyes and take a breath.
Mm.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. I haven't got time for this. This is wasting a minute of my time for mistake. And then we all shared insights. But good old me. Come on, just give me the answers.
Just give me
But
it.
it was a beautiful one because that's what I do myself, but I didn't realize I literally do it. Like I just go outside and I'll take a moment, put my hand on my heart, and I'll be looking at the garden and then I'll carry on. I don't even think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But it was a nice way the lady did it to bring us all on computer to do it even when you're here. And it was
Yeah.
that take a moment and pause. Just pause and take that breath. And I was like, okay. But I found it incredibly valuable. And then of course we shared insights, and the insights people got, I was like, wow, we're all on the same journey together, which
Yeah.
was a humbling thing as well.
Mhm.
But that stop and breathe, well, not stop and breathe, just
Yeah.
breathing is so important.
But
Not
it's allowing you to get into the present moment, right? Because
it doesn't, it shuts all down.
yeah.
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 And to your point, we often can lose sight of that, especially on the virtual world. A lot of us are like even you and I sitting here talking, we can sometimes forget that,
That's right.
right? Because we're on. I'm actually involved in a training course right now too, and I really admire the person who's leading the training because she often will just make us stop, have a water break, have a shake, get up, and actually she makes
Yeah.
us shake, do a little shimmy.
Wobble, wobble, yeah.
But it's important because, and so she's really honoring that she knows we're all connected virtually, we're all on screen, but she's also got in the back of her mind that we need to make sure we step into the wisdom of our body And that can
Yeah.
sometimes look like just putting your hands on your heart and taking a deep breath, or making sure you're hydrated and things of that
Yeah.
nature. Those are the things, those are the little pieces that are essential to building resilience, right?
100%. Well, I think about, Moira has her self-care kit that
Yeah.
when she requires something, she just goes in and pulls something out. And I talk about my glitter bomb, but I didn't realize I don't have breathe in my glitter bomb. One of the I say is I don't say stop and breathe. I don't actually say, I say pause, reflect, but I don't actually say breathe.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, I've been saying glitter bomb for what, 7 years or something, and I don't say breathe. That's quite a significant.
Yes. There's a new ingredient to the glitter bomb.
I know. And I also say to people, I mean, that you can, take the glitter bomb, just stand and stretch in your office. But often I reference people to go outside, and I say, go outside and feel the wind in your hair. And then I've realized I don't often say, if you're in the computer and you want a glitter bomb, I say lipstick or, whatever it is, grab a nice pen, those little things. But actually just take a moment to breathe.
Yeah.
In front of your computer has a whole different dynamic. So I was thankful to that to add into my my glitter bomb kit. But a reminder, breathe, because that's so vital to build your resilience. Like so vital.
It's got to be like priority number one, because the other thing, like I've developed and I'm sure I've talked about lots of different breathing techniques on previous episodes, but one of the things about a breathing technique is, well, I'm going to tell you one right now.
Okay.
I call it the off switch for the amygdala.
Yeah.
So the amygdala is the part of our brain where our fight or flight, freeze or freak out response comes from. It's when we're like, oh my God, I'm in danger. I'm being chased by a lion or something.
Yeah.
So what this breathing technique is all you need to do is you take a full long breath in through your nose, and then you sigh it out through your mouth. You do at least 3 of them. I actually prefer 5. So through your nose, sigh out. Yeah.
And breathing gets you present.
It gets you present, but you see what happens. This is why I call it the off switch for the amygdala. Is when you're in panic mode or freeze or freak out or any of those, you're shallow breathing, but your subconscious is like, oh my God, I'm in danger. I have to run. I'm not safe. And so your breath stops at your chest. But if you pause and consciously take that breath in and breathe it out, your subconscious goes, gosh, I thought there was this big, chaotic, dangerous situation, but you wouldn't be breathing like that if you were being chased by a predator, right?
That's right. That's
so
right.
It
calms your farm.
Calms your farm or soothes your nervous system.
Yeah.
And that is such an essential component to building resilience. Is, let's face it, we live in discombobulation. There's chaos and crazy making stuff happening worldwide. You cannot actually escape it. It's there. So therefore, primary importance for increasing resilience is calming your nervous system. And that's why I think it's so important to have a plethora of ideas, because you and I've talked about this before. That breathing technique is not going to suit you every time you're in a panicky situation.
No.
Right?
What you just shared, what I love hearing what you just shared is it can be done in public. So for me, sometimes people go, oh, you need to do this, this, and this. Tell your listeners that or something. I'm like, I'm not going to do that because they need to sit in the corner or they need to sit with their head between their knees. Sometimes people are in the supermarket and they become discombobulated.
Yep.
So the last thing I'm going to suggest is that they sit in the supermarket and put their head between their knees and start breathing. Like, no, but the simple techniques, well, you and I give are definitely something can be done on public.
Yep.
Public on stage if you have a freeze. If you're in a meeting and you're being told off or you're telling someone else and you just say, it's something you can do publicly that is still going to allow things to flow. Yep, I love that one.
And because you and I have talked, our favorite one is the hand on your heart, because you can do that anywhere, right? Hand on your heart and take a deep breath.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a resilience boost also, right?
But funny, so the people who know me, they know when someone's challenging me at an online event or something, and I can see that challenge, and they'll just literally see my hand go to my boob or my heart, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Deb's going in. She's just grounding herself before she goes in." And it's just, I'm like, "Damn you lot! How do you know that?" And they're like, "Because you keep telling us, hand on
Keep telling
heart,
them.
just put yourself," and they can see it, and they're like, "Oh, there she goes. Her hand's going to her heart."
So I'm gonna tell you and our listeners another sneaky one, because
Okay,
then you
perfect.
will not get labeled like that, because people won't know.
Well,
So
they're laughing at me, so I'm up for that. Yeah, what's the next one?
so everybody that knows me knows that if I'm out in public, I've got a necklace on. Always have
Oh, yes.
some
Yeah.
form of necklace on, right?
Yeah.
So if you think about where my necklace is, it's right where my collarbone is.
Yeah, I can see it. See, this is
And
why you need,
so,
this is why you don't have video today, people. Yeah.
yes. And so I might just be tapping on that area,
Oh, of course.
right? I'm
Oh,
often doing that. And so
he hasn't done that with me lately.
no, see, I don't need to do that when I'm with you. But somebody seeing me, they're not sure if I'm doing something because I'm in panic mode or if I'm just
Yeah.
playing with my neck.
Yeah. Oh, see, they're the things that I think are just helpful because and I do have that thought, oh, what are people going to think of me if I do that? You know, even
Right.
though I teach people to let it
Who
go.
cares what they think?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there is still the little piece that comes in sometimes. Oh, if I did sit down in the middle of the supermarket, put my head between my knees and breathe, like people are going to look at me. Like I think about those people who've got those dogs, you know,
Oh, the comfort
the
dogs.
self-help dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people come over and make a big drama with the poor people and who are on the floor and then the dogs. I'm like, let them be. They've got their own
Yeah.
routine,
Yeah.
so people go, oh, what's happening over here? Let's go and investigate. No, bugger off, and so I do like that the necklace thing. Well,
Mhm.
that's a one. I play with my necklace all the time. Righto. Righto, people. Anyone who watches me on Zoom,
It
don't
doesn't
take that one.
doesn't
It doesn't,
necessarily mean she's
that does not.
discombobulated.
I'm never going to take that one on. Wink, wink. Wink, wink, wink. Well, yeah, breathe, hand on heart. They are essential to
Mhm.
building resilience.
Mhm.
The one I'd like to bring in is one day I worked with this girl and we worked for an hour and a bit and we're at a public event and I sat and worked on her emotion, what was going through. And she went through a pretty full on being trapped into a building full of fire.
Mm.
We worked through the emotion. She came to gratitude of that experience. And then she went into a room. So she felt complete. I felt complete. She then went into a room. And an hour later, someone said to me, so-and-so spinning out. Can you talk to them? And I was like, what the heck? We've done some time this morning already. I don't understand this.
Mhm.
And I realized she had come into the room and she'd listened to a whole lot of people.
Oh
And they were like,
no.
oh, that must have been horrific for you. This must have been, I've had that experience. And all of a sudden, her story that we had, her chapter in her life book that I had resolved or dissolved or whatever we worked through and we'd ironed it out, had then suddenly had everyone else's perception of the story
Oh
thrown into her
gosh.
storybook. So
Mhm.
she went on a way more extreme journey of the chaos because of what other people had gone through. So she started taking on theirs. So one of the techniques to build resilience is stop freaking listening to others.
I was just going to say that. Release other people's stories.
Because
Yeah.
but it was really, and I was like, what the heck? I went,
Mhm.
it's a waste of my time. I went through a whole emotional thing, then went, no, this is a beautiful expression of how even a master who can deal with their emotions can take on other people's stuff. So it was a beautiful experience to see and feel, as much as I found it frustrating, but actually it's really important to go, that's their story.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if you're a coach and you get paid to listen to people's stories, I get paid to listen to people's stories, but I don't jump in their story.
No.
One of the things, so I'm conscious and cautious of that because I can protect myself. But even if you get paid to listen to their story, do not take that story home with you at night. Do not take that and bring it into the next client. Do not take that chapter's done with
Yep.
them.
Yep.
Closed, move on. It's really, really important to not take on other people's shit.
Well, other people's opinions, but it's actually really interesting that you bring that up because I agree with you 100%. In fact, before we started recording this
Oh, yeah, of
episode,
course
we
we're
were
talking about
talking,
it.
yeah, we were just talking a wee bit about this because I have a way of dealing with, I've had to deal with a lot of challenges and of late, some pretty epic challenges. So when I am going through trauma or turmoil or challenge, discombobulation, let's say,
Yeah.
um, I'm not going to tell you what's going on because I know that that's the human condition. That as soon as I tell you, oh, this is what I'm feeling, or this is what I'm dealing with,
Mm.
people can't help it, and they're coming from a place of
Well,
compassion. They
some are
want to
coming-
help you.
20% are coming from a lovely, not 20%, 20% are coming from a whole place, but 80% literally just go, oh, you should try this. This will help.
Yes.
But then there's the other 20% who are just,
But even that 80%, I don't, so I am an intelligent person. I can work through things. I've got this. I use a lot of the techniques that I talk about in these conversations. But if I have somebody else saying, oh, just do it this way, or why don't you do it this way? There's those parts, but then there's the other parts that people will start saying, oh, well, when I went through a situation like that, this is what I did. I don't want any of that. That's not helping my resilience. If I show up and tell you about something I've experienced, it's because I've come through it, come through the other
Yeah.
side, and now my resilience is intact. And
yeah.
so I'm not, like, you can have your opinion, you can have your suggestions, but I've already dealt with it, so I'm good.
Yeah.
So I really encourage our listeners to kind of feel into that. Do not share something that you're still feeling really vulnerable, or you're not, that you maybe got the wobbles are a bit too much to, that you may end up taking on somebody else's opinion or agenda or ideas, right? Does that make sense, Deb?
It does make sense, but also know sometimes sometimes you may just want to hold in your heart. Sometimes you may want to talk to Debz and Moira, and then other times you share that. But each experience can be used with a different technique.
Yep.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
So, I know my mum, sometimes there's some stuff that goes on and I just go, Mum, this is what's happening, da-da-da. And Mum just straight away just pulls me back to da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, and it's a 2-minute conversation and then I carry on. But I haven't actually ever asked Mum, do you dwell on what we talk about or anything? I think pretty sure we don't. She never brings it up again. And it's like a beep, beep, beep by doing it. But I'm pretty sure she can do that. Like for me, I can ask Mum. I also know you're an exceptional person. I can go, this is what's going on, blah, 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 and you can, within a minute, well, even just Moira's voice calms me down instantly. But even just within a minute, I have a strategy there because I'm open to it. If I can't figure it out myself. But it's finding those people, and I'm just going to say, finding those people to share that with if you want to share it or not. But for me, when I went through a medical condition, I was going to say recently, everything feels like recently.
I know.
To myself, I know it does feel like recently. It's nearly 2024. But for me, I just wanted to get that and understand it myself before I did share it. And when I did share it with 2 people, they shared it as far wide as they possibly could, that I was mortified. Like, hang on,
no
this
doubt.
is mine.
Yeah, it's not
that
theirs to share.
I know, which is that thing. But the beautiful thing, and I am going to say, reach out to Moira and Debz. Didn't we talk about this? We've had nearly 60 years experience between us.
I thought it was closer to 80, actually.
Was it 80?
Between us. Yeah. I think it was closer to 80.
It's pretty damn
It's
freaky.
a lot. It's a lot, let me tell you.
There's just we're not quite in the pensioner age group, whatever that age group is, but we're right up there. But we can take your stuff on. So when you give us that story, we can do it unemotionally. We can feel you, but we can unemotionally come back to you with strategies to help.
To help
We've got
bolster your own resilience. It's actually there. It's just sometimes it kind of takes a wee bit of a beating, right?
When you're discombobulated, you literally can't see jack shite. You're in that cloudy fog. You're like,
Yeah,
hang
there's
on,
that.
and then you're going left or right. But be aware of those other people's stories, because that is what is going to stop your resilience. The only thing that's going to build from that is, I knew I shouldn't have told them that. I knew they're not a good
yeah.
It's just confirmation. But again, as Moira said, you're the co-creator of your life. You've allowed that to happen to you. But
Yeah.
Moira and I are here to
Calm your nervous system and find
Yeah.
the resources within you.
that
Right.
and we won't go to bed at night stressing about you. Well,
Mm.
we might do a little healing as we go to bed, go, oh, and feel the energy. But yeah, but
Actually,
just
that's a
be
good point, because sometimes I do. If I
I
feel
do. I
that the
last night.
energy, because I did that just recently, and so all I did was send them a beam of love and
Mhm.
envelop them in that. I was like, I wasn't going to get into my head, or
Yeah.
it was just, nope, that's what I'm doing, just beaming that loving energy.
Yeah, so when I said we go to bed and we don't think about you, sometimes it does happen. I'm
Yes.
walking through in the back garden, I go, oh, wonder what's happening to so and so. I'll just send them some love.
Yeah.
So yes, we do. But it's not. You're right. It's not swallowing into their storybook.
Yeah. And not getting into ruminating or
Yeah.
you know, yeah,
Yeah.
no big conversation in the head.
Yes, and when I think about that, I also think about the other one is say no. Say no. No, this doesn't work for me right now. No,
Yeah.
no. So when we say other people's stories their own, can I share a story with you? No. Or no, it
Yes.
doesn't work right now. Or no, but reach out to Moira or Deb. Or no, you can say no to no is a perfect word at the perfect time.
And so that's something, and I often have this conversation with clients too, is it's essential to your own resilience to remind
Oh,
yourself that you have the right to say no.
yeah.
And the other part of that is that saying no doesn't mean never. And so it's like giving yourself permission to say, no, it just doesn't work for me right now. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the capacity to deal with that. I'll circle back, or perhaps you could go and ask this person, or perhaps you could do this, or maybe you could just journal, or right. So
Yeah.
I think that that's such an important part. And here's the other part of that, is that if you do have an issue around giving yourself permission to say no, then I encourage you to look at your own sense of worthiness. Your own sense of self-worth is not. And that triggered something there for Deb.
I was laughing because when I was thinking about saying no, I was thinking, say no to yourself. If you want to do something, go, okay, today I'm going to go for a drive because I want to escape. Actually, no, that's not going to help me. It's actually better for me to stay here. So it's not just saying no to others to protect that self-worth.
So saying no to running away from something.
Yeah, say no to yourself as well. No, I don't need to. No, actually, now's the time. I've got time to deal with this. So it's not just say no to others, but say no to yourself.
And no, I don't need that other piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
You
Really?
had one. You
Are
had
you
one.
sure? My lovely person in my house, she's my partner. She's trying to do this eating plan, and last night I had potato chips.
Oh
And
dear.
I try and eat that stuff away from her, like just because it's not fair. And I was like, oh, so I just got her the tiniest little bowl, the tiniest, and she was like, really? Why? And I'm like, because I'm going to sit here beside you at the other
Because
end
I
of the
feel
couch,
guilty having this treat and you can't have
and
any.
I'm gonna eat potato chips. You're gonna hear me, like you can't deny it. And so she was like, okay, I think this is all I need. And it was beautiful for her to process, do I want this little bowl because Deborah's being lovely to me, or because I
Good
was
for her.
pushing down a little bit. Yeah, but she actually did eat them. She did eat them, and she said that was actually enough. Because usually I'm like, let's just do the whole big bag, let's do the whole lot. Potato chips is my weakness, chocolate's hers. But yeah,
Yes.
it was a compromise for her. She's like, no, actually, I can do a smaller bowl. No, I can't. But
Good for
yeah.
her. So she didn't feel like she was
There was no pressure. There was no obligation.
and she
There
wasn't
was,
losing out. She wasn't missing out on a
yeah,
treat.
yeah, yeah. As
But
long as
that's a
her
nice thing is because around building resilience. What's that?
as long as her trainer doesn't listen to this podcast. Sorry,
Oops.
Chrissy.
But
Yeah.
I was thinking about the building resilience is to always remember that you get to choose, right?
Mm.
So in that choosing, it's great that your partner's got this new eating plan, which she's choosing, but she also gets to choose the
Yeah.
periodic treats too. I think that's a really important part too. And that
Yeah. And
helps our resilience, right?
mm.
Because it creates more sense of worthiness and sense of flow and sometimes
Well, that
having that
goes back
retreat is
that,
is a good thing.
yeah, that goes back to the co-creator again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back to that part. Yeah.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
choosing.
We
And
think we off I find people go, I can't say no, I'm going to offend people. I'm like, but you can say no, and if you don't say no, you're going to offend yourself and you're going to be worse off, and then they're going to feel worse off. But you're a master of saying no. I say that, Moira. Moira's a
yeah,
master of saying no if it doesn't feel right. But you've had to go through your experiences in life to get to that, whatever it is.
absolutely. So it's interesting because I hear that often too, where people say, I'm going to offend somebody if I don't go along with what they're asking me to do. And so
Mm.
I have this little thing that I pose to them is that if they knew that somebody they wanted, let's just take going to the cinema as an example. So let's say that this person really wanted to see a certain type of movie and you really didn't like that kind of movie. But you went because they wanted to. And so then later down the road, they find out that you were horrified or that you hated every moment of it.
Yeah,
How do you think that person would feel?
that's
How
right.
how would you feel if you found out afterwards that somebody did something or agreed to something just because they thought they should or just because they didn't
Oh,
want to
you would
offend you?
feel stink. Yeah.
Exactly. And so every person that I've ever had that conversation with, they go, oh gosh, no, I wouldn't like that. So it's like, but it's in reverse now, right? So
I
going
know.
along with something that doesn't resonate, that doesn't fill you up, that doesn't feel right, it's a disservice to the other.
I would feel stink.
Yeah, me
It's like
too.
when you delegate something, delegate it to somebody who loves to do it, not delegate to somebody who just because it's easy, I'll just delegate it to them. Like delegate to somebody who loves to do it, because if they don't love to do that task, that's that whole energy bubble that goes out.
Yeah. But you know what this is doing? Is it's making me realize we have to bring in my 3 questions because
Yeah.
that will help you get to the point of being able to say no. So listeners, these 3 questions, and if you've listened to previous episodes, you will remember them maybe. The
You
first one
better.
is this good for me? Yes or no?
Yeah.
The next one is this good for the other or the others? Yes or no? And the last one is, do I want to? Yes or no? And you ask them fairly quickly because you want the initial knee-jerk reaction, yes or no. Now, in order to say yes or no, all 3 of those have to be yes. They have to be a hell yes.
All the way in. All
Is
the
it
way
good
in.
for me to say no to this? Yes or no? Is it good for me to say the other to say no to this? Yes or no? Do I want to? Do I want to say no? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right there. There's your answer. It's actually very simple.
That's a 45-second,
Mm-hmm.
if that,
Yep.
if that.
Yep.
Probably a 30-second. And that is a solid one to build resilience.
Hugely. Yeah.
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 I'm conscious of the time, and I've because Deborah doesn't really watch the time. apart from when she's on these things with Moira. And we go on tangents. And I feel like we've just started our podcast, Moira. Is that what it feels like for you? I'm like, we're just getting in there. But I'm going to pivot back to, we're going to give you our tips. We're going to give you our insights and condense what we've just talked about in the last little bit to show you those techniques for building resilience. So if you didn't grab your note-taking device, then grab it now, because we're going to kick right into it.
Yeah.
We started with, what does resilience mean?
To
And
you.
I actually, to you, to Moira, to Deb, to you, the listener, to the listener's partner, to the listener's child, to the listener's boss. What does it mean to you? But I actually want to jump in before we do this. What does building mean? Building means you're a work in progress, because we've missed that word. Like, it's you may not get it right, whatever right looks like. You may not get it right.
Things out. Yeah.
That's right. And that's that flexibility. I just realized we went straight down the resilience train, and I forgot.
We did.
building.
No, that's well done. Very true.
So pull that back to building, condense that one down to, you're ever evolving. You're here for a lifetime, whatever that lifetime is, and don't get stagnant. Right, moving on.
Always becoming something new.
That's right. That's right. So resilience, let's just sum up what we talked about with resilience, because I've got like a gazillion notes on that one word, resilience.
Right. So the one that I wrote down was the mantra in your head, I've got this.
Oh yeah, okay.
I've got this. And then you talked about the rebounding.
Yeah,
right?
which is
rebounding.
Yeah, that you can bounce back. Yeah, and it's you always do. And that's that reminder that you had it before.
Yeah.
But also trust. So when we talked about that, trust all encompasses everything that we've just said. If that makes pence. I don't know what pence means. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's always
you're actually bringing a lot of the tips because I actually wrote some of these down as separate tips.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Because the next one, like we talked about resilience, and I'm glad you added in that wee piece about building. But I had written separately, and I believe this was you that had said that, was to remind yourself that you've been through crazy making discombobulation stuff before, and you've made it through, so therefore you can do it again, right? So it's a really important reminder to say, I've got this, right? That brings back in that I've got this.
Yeah. Well, even going through, and I that's probably when I referenced 2020.
Yeah.
But the building part also means you're no longer that same person.
That's right.
Back then, who you were at the start of this podcast, you're a different person at the end of it, or different person now.
So that's funny, because something else that we didn't bring into this, and it just landed for me as you said that, was celebrate. Celebrate that you're somebody new now, and you've got this, you can do this, and so you're always evolving. We all are, right?
Yeah. Celebrate. Of course. How do we miss? There's going to be a few that we've probably missed.
Oh, I'm sure.
Celebrate. Yes. Well, I had a few under that resilience, but then I love the way that Moira said how you're a co-creator. So Moira will probably get to the ones before that. She'll pull back to the ones I've missed. But you're a co-creator in this world. You are the master of your own destiny, the captain of your own ship, the lord of your castle,
the director of it all, the boss.
Yeah, the author of your own story. Yeah, all those things. You are boss of you. So just feel it and see what that feels like and what you'd like to create from that. So be present and poised. And when you are present and poised, I think you call it the eye of the storm. When you're present and poised, you can see so much clearly.
Yeah.
And remind yourself you are the co-creator.
Yep. Which that beautifully brings into the piece we were talking about, adaptability, which was my one-word theme for 2024.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was called upon to be very adaptable. But that is...
because I'm like, of course you chose that word this year. Didn't know what that meant though.
Didn't know why, but here now I do. Got complete. And so see that, and that's why it often brings you to a place of trust. Like it's like, I actually argued with myself at the beginning of the year, like, why? There's so many other awesome words. I love playing with words, but I just kept coming back. It kept coming back, kept coming back. And so who
Bigger
knew?
picture going
That's it.
through.
But like I said, that it's being adaptable, and you know that you can shift and change. And you know, just to be piece on what you were saying about the co-creator, is that as a co-creator, if you create something, you'd make a decision, go a certain direction, and that you start taking the steps forward, and you think, I don't like this. You can
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
Resilient people know they
change.
can change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, well, hey, I said I was going this way, and so I have to. It's like, no. Resilient people know that sometimes their best choice is to say, that's not working for me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Change in direction.
I think there's nothing in concrete. Even if
Yeah.
it's in concrete, even if you think it's in concrete, concrete can be broken.
Yep. The
Bit of
goalposts can be removed, as Deb says.
Yeah, goalpost. I remember that day. Woo! Like, how simple is that? How simple is
Yeah.
that? 25 years ago. Yeah. The next one I have is breathe. Surprise!
Deep breath.
Breathe. And Moira gave us a juicy technique on breathing, and it was so simple. I mean, I knew it would be simple, but it wasn't. It's something you can do publicly. It was so simple. It was so quick.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about a minute and a half, maybe. You can do it longer. You can do it less. And that again brings you back to poise and presence.
Precisely. Yeah. So do it often throughout your day. It's not oh, I just do this breathing technique and everything's good. No, these are all breathing techniques are things that you want to keep researching. And how does it feel? You know, this one feels good when I'm in this type of situation, and this one is better when I do this.
Just another gift to put in your self-care kit or your glitter bomb kit. Yeah.
Self-soothing kit. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The next one I have here is where Deb talked about releasing other people's stories. And that's when I brought in my own way of dealing with this, is that when we're feeling very vulnerable and we're feeling, discombobulated, or we're treading very slowly and carefully because we're coming through something that's full of turmoil and trauma and chaos, because let's face it, we got to go through those. But it's so important to be very wary of who you let in to your own process. Because other people, even when they mean the best, can actually throw spanner in the works by saying, oh, all you have to do is do this, or haven't you done this, or why haven't you done it this way? And they're coming from a place of caring, but that can actually sometimes feel like an affront, or discombobulate you even deeper, right?
Yeah, it can take you on a whole different tangent.
Yeah.
I think that's a reminder that Debz and Moira are here.
Yes, we are.
We are here, and as Moira scarily said, I think we're nearly 80 years of experience between us. To go back to that one again. But we are here with our motive is to keep you on track in life and to keep you inspired and fulfilled, and allow you to see what's in front of you, what's behind you, how your thoughts and actions. That's what we're here for. And we generally do that. We do these podcasts because we want to help you. It's not fair to be sitting in that state.
Yeah.
So we want to help give you the simplest tips that we use and implement. We are here for you. We both work differently. I laugh a lot. Moira laughs at me.
I do too.
Moira laughs, but her laugh's a bit different to my laugh. But we get a result, and we both have that care and genuine inspiration to shift you along. That would sum it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Very true. Very true. The next one that I have here is say no. You have the right to say no. But I like what Deb brought into this part too, is to remember to say no to yourself sometimes. Like if
Mm,
you're trying to escape something or run away or avoid something, maybe it's best to say no, but with loving kindness too.
mm.
To do it with a sense of worthiness and compassion for yourself. To just come back to no, it's okay, I get it. You're trying to escape, but
Yeah.
resilience resilience says, I've got this. I'm the co-creator, I'm the boss, I get to choose.
And
Right.
no's not permanent. No is not right now. So if you go, no, I don't, no, I'm not going to go for a drive and escape. I'm going to put it in my diary and I'm going to work on this now. And then I'm going to then I'm going to go have some glitter time for me to
Yeah.
drive
Yeah,
something. So schedule whatever it is, put that time aside. And that's all part of that self-worth, respecting yourself.
definitely.
And the one Moira ended on was the 3 questions, which
The
is
3 questions.
sit on my computer, and it is this good for me? Is
Yes
this
or no?
good? Do I want to?
Yep.
Now that's how quick it is. Is this good for me to do this podcast? Yes. Is it good for others? Well, yes, buddy better be. And do I want to? Yes.
Yes.
But that's how quick it is. If they're not a yes with pom pom on and lights, and if they're not a yes, hell
Yep.
yes, then it's a no.
Then it's a no.
And
Yeah.
you park it or you dump it. The 4 Ds: do, delegate, defer, or dump.
Yeah, I
But
talk about them now too. I like them. The 4 Ds.
they're so great. They're so simple though. But
They're so
it's
simple,
just
but that actually also is a nice thing for resilience, right?
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, because taking on everybody else's stuff. Do I want to? So that's the 4 Ds. Do it. Defer it means put it in the diary for later.
Mhm.
Delegate it to somebody who's inspired about it, or dump it. Cross it off the
Not
list.
doing it. Not doing it. Yep. Yeah.
So they are our tips for our techniques of building resilience. I trust you had some goodies in there. And just to wrap up what we learned today, they're all different techniques.
Mhm.
They have a different spin. They're going to land for you today. Tomorrow they may not land, whatever they are. But just take a moment now, and I'd love everyone just to, now, not if you're driving, it's just to shut your eyes and put your hand on your heart and think about those tips we've shared today and just ask yourself, how does this information make me feel about me?
Mhm.
And what is that one tip that you're going to implement from here?
Yeah, nice one. I like that.
Yeah. And do an asterisk beside that and then start implementing it. Start with that.
Yeah.
So if you want to drop that in the chat, so if you like this, the next step is drop it in the chat. What's your favorite tip and how you're going to implement it? That would be super inspiring for us to see. And that's Debz and Moira on our Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation, signing off. And we look forward to having a inspiring conversation with you next time. Thank you, Moira.
Thank you, dear
And
Deb.
thank you for the stories that were shared. And thank you to the internet for working today.
Cooperating. Yes. Really good.
Resilience, right there. Resilience. Oh, yeah, technology. Maybe that's one. Let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Moira. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Yes.
listeners. See you next time. Bye.